We'll have a moment of silent meditation and pledge to the flag. Thank you. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call to order this meeting of the Monongalia County Commission for December 2nd, 2020. It is 10:05 and all the commissioners are present. We'll begin with consent and approval. Good morning, Renetta.
Good morning. We have 11 exonerations for $2,007.62. Vouchers, General County Fund, $207,201.07. Whole severance, $731.69. 911, $559.80. Chestnut Ridge Park, $1,800. Mason-Dixon Park, $260.18. Recreation levy, $13,250. Assessor's valuation, $8,363.80. Purchasing card vouchers, General County Fund, $61,000. I'm having trouble with the numbers this morning. $6,104.20. 911, $157.07. Chestnut Ridge Park, $40.98. Mason-Dixon Park, $199.63. For a voucher total of $238,668.42. Position vacancies for boards and authorities are Western Board of Zoning Appeals, Monongalia County Planning Commission, Mon County Development Authority, Camp Muffley Advisory Board, Abandoned and Dilapidated Enforcement Agency, Mason-Dixon Park Advisory Board, Region 6 Plan and Development Council, Historic Landmarks Commission, and the Mountaineer Trail Network Authority. Fiduciary orders for December the 2nd, 2020. Itemized statement of services for George Armistead.
Move for approval.
Second.
Been properly moved and second for approval. All in favor?
Aye.
Next, have introductions of new employees. I see that the sheriff does have one in addition to Mr. Smith.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have Noah Thompson here. Noah's been a process transport officer for us for the last couple years, and as of December 1st, he's moving over to deputy sheriff at a starting salary of $3,659 per month on a one-year probation period.
Move for approval.
Second.
Properly moved and second for approval. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Glad to have you.
Do you have a basketball team? Because
I was going to say, is he starting center
I was
for your
wondering if
basketball
it's,
team?
yeah.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you. Jim?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Yesterday, Amber Gooden started at Mecca as a probationary telecommunicator. She will be on probation for 1 year before she comes to telecommunicator first class.
Move for approval.
Second.
Properly moved and second for approval. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Tell her we welcome her, please. Okay. Are there any other introductions? Hearing none, we'll move on to comments from the public. We're now open for comments from the public. We are now closed for comments from the public. And thank you. Colleen, do we have grants? We do not have grants. Carrie Blaney, County Clerk, certification of 2020 general election federal and statewide results. Please step on down.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
We completed our canvass on Monday, November the 9th after the election, and because other counties in the state had not completed their canvassing, we were only able to certify a couple of weeks ago the local contests that were just involved Monongalia County. I believe all counties were complete on Monday, November the 23rd. However, it was going to be after the time period for your Wednesday, November 25th County Commission meeting. So today, you should have before you the final certification for the statewide and federal contests that were on the 2020 general election ballot.
Okay. Move to certified statewide and federal election results as presented.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Correspondence.
I have none.
Sean?
I have none.
Tom?
Nope.
Any unfinished business?
No, sir.
I do have one item. It's not on the agenda, but I did want to mention it, and I'll talk about it later in my report. But we had a pre-bid meeting for our pool RFP yesterday, and I'm going to need to amend the RFP to add an additional pre-bid meeting date, and it's going to be next Monday at noon, so I'll be doing the RFP. That doesn't require commission action. I just wanted to note it in public meeting that I will be doing that.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll move on to new business. First, consideration to approve the settlement agreement and release of claims regarding civil action number 19-C-480, the Monongalia County Development Authority versus Monongalia County Commission, P.M. Long & Son Incorporated, and Eldon A. Cowan.
I want to make one stipulation. The agenda said settlement agreement and release of claims. It's actually a settlement agreement and stipulation. Settlement agreement and release of claims and stipulation of dismissal documents. So I move that we approve the settlement agreement and release of claims and stipulation of dismissal documents as presented with discussion.
Second.
Okay.
Okay, this is, this settlement, actually, this is one of the first things that I was involved with it coming on to the commission in 2016. The question of whether, when the Development Authority was sued, they turned it over to us to turn into our insurance agent, and at that time we found out that the Development Authority wasn't covered under our current policy. So this finally puts this to rest. The settle amount, as I noted, it took 4 years to resolve, but finally puts it behind us, and I'm glad to finally get this settled and for us all to move forward.
I agree. Thank you. 4 years is a bit of a stretch. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next, to consider for approval a contract addendum for STS Consulting, LLC, in connection with completion and adoption of the draft subdivision and land development ordinance.
Move to approve the contract addendum and extension to contract with STS Consulting.
Second.
Been properly moved in second for approval. All in favor?
Aye.
This is a not-to-exceed addition of $12,000, and it extends the POP through period of performance through June 30th, 2021.
Next, consideration of salary actions for permanent full-time and permanent part-time county employees.
Move to approve a 3% increase or a minimum of $1,500 for full-time and $1,000 for part-time employees, whichever is higher. And this would be for employees that were hired after 7/1/20, as well as temporary or seasonal status, are not eligible to be, and this would be effective 12/1/20 and be in the pay period of 12/15/20.
Second with discussion, so.
Okay.
Yeah, so in the springtime when we were doing the budget, Commission wrestled with what the effects of COVID would be and how we would move forward and be responsible and be prudent. And at that time, it was our wish to delay this decision until we had a couple months under our belt to determine if there were any impacts of the whole COVID pandemic that we needed to consider. We have noticed that everything is running as according to budget. Revenue is higher than projected. Expenses are lower than projected, lower than the average of the past 7 years. So we feel that we're in a good place to have gone ahead and done this salary increase. We wanted it to be retroactive, but we found out that we wouldn't be able to do that according to the state auditor. So this will be effective 12/1. Moving forward so it's a increase to the annual salary, and it'll be prorated as such. So the overall impact to our fiscal year 21 budget is about $250,000.
And I want to thank the commissioners. We all agreed that we would look at the first quarter of the income to see about COVID. We did, and our commitment was that then we could reevaluate it. And I'm real pleased that we were able to do this.
I am too, and considering that we have really dedicated people that work in the county, and I think this is the third year, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's the third year that we have been able to offer these salary increases. And
At this rate.
making sure that, and if anybody feels that there was for a shorting of this particular entity, I invite them to please contact me. But we know that it's the will of commission that this be presented. So with that,
And one more clarification. Generally, when we're talking about budget increases, we always do from January 1
Right.
because we're making them effective in July 1. Because we're making these effective now, it's for any employees that were hired before 7/1. So we've actually looked at those handful of employees that we've hired since
And they would get it.
January, and we're making sure that they're included also.
Correct.
So we'll need the offices to do an additional.
Yes, we had sent out a spreadsheet to the offices and basically of what their anticipated increases would be for their approval. With that change of date, we'll have to adjust for any newer employees, but we need to get that to the clerk's office by Friday, so I'd ask that any of the offices would respond as soon as possible to the revised request that will go out from our office this morning.
with that being said, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's been properly moved and seconded. All in favor? All right.
Yes.
Thank you. Next, consideration of supplemental funding to the Monongalia County Health Department for the purpose of providing their employee pay increases.
I move to approve supplemental funding for the Monongalia County Health Department with the stated purpose of providing one-time supplemental pay for Mon County Health Department employees.
Second, with clarification,
Okay.
so we can, so the public understands what has happened.
So the health department employees are state employees, they're not county employees, so they're treated a little differently. But what we had asked, we had reached out and did a data call to the health department and asked them to do an exercise if we were to give their employees the one time. So this isn't something, it's called a non-base building supplemental pay. So it doesn't increase their annual salary, but it's kind of like a longevity pay, which is an example if we were doing this for county employees. So they came back of what the impact would be. There's 60-something employees. And they, because of their rules with the state, they didn't do the 3%. They said, let's just keep it a flat $1,500, and then if someone was part-time, based off of if they worked 48%, then they worked out the percentages, and they sent us the impact would be exactly, it's like $99,888. That's why I moved it. We just go ahead and move them $100,000, but that would essentially give all their employees a $1,500 one-time supplemental pay. This is up to, it has to be approved by the Board of Health, which meets tomorrow, and then they would turn it into the DOP, Department of Personnel, statewide, and it would be approved by them. I think they're meeting on the 18th, but assuming that it meets those two hurdles, then while it's up to the health department as far as when they process it, but I believe they'll do that first thing in January.
It's always hoped that the entity would be receptive to receive money. I'm sorry.
An important thing is too that obviously the health department employees have been just extremely overworked and have been right in the middle of this whole COVID pandemic. Since we really started tracking the days, back in March, and it's 200 and something. Some of these employees have gone all that time without any time off.
Yes.
So I think it was important when we were talking about increases that we recognize the component, our sisters and brothers that work for the health department and the work that they're doing during this pandemic. So I'm glad that we can do this, and all the commissioners agree that
Yes.
we should do this.
That being said, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. That concludes new business. Reports from elected officials. Seeing none, reports from county commissioners. Tom?
Sure. Just real good news that was announced this week about the Black Bears, and also keeping connection with the Major League Baseball Association. And as I stated, and I want to write this again, that the commissioners were thrilled. We've been working with Matt Dreher and the owners of the Black Bears, and we're very pleased that the Black Bears have been an integral part of our community. And we prided ourselves with a stadium that was considered first class, and that's how we felt about the Black Bears organization. And I said that we appreciated the support of the minor league baseball, and we're excited to be a part of their vision and the future. It is unfortunate that 44 teams, I believe, were gone, and I think we're the only connection now with Major League Baseball in West Virginia. But it does say something about our community and the commitment to the program. So I really appreciate that. The second thing, I was going to announce about the meeting that we're about to have on the 17th, but I want to stop for a second because I just received the update from the state. And I really believe the public needs to understand. I understand that we're concerned and we're tired of 240 days of dealing with this COVID crisis, but we had 1,087 more new cases in the state, 20 more deaths yesterday, and we have to really get a handle on this. And with the county commission support, on December 17th, we have a COVID rapid response team, as I called it, a nucleus of 7 individuals that we are going to meet to discuss not only how we continue to mitigate COVID in our community, but also the process that there's a draft out from the State Department to administer and distribute the vaccine. So we're all going to work together under the Health Department guys and make sure all the information is correct, that gets out to the public correctly. And I appreciate the county commissioners supporting this, because we need to be all on the same path. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. John?
With last week being Thanksgiving, I have a very short report. It's appropriate that the first meeting after Thanksgiving that we were able to actually do this rate increase for our employees, as thanks to our employees and thanks to the Health Department employees. So thank you for all agreeing to do this. I think it'd go a long way to helping those employees, especially at the Health Department. Yesterday I had a pool RFP pre-bid meeting. As I mentioned earlier, I'll be scheduling another meeting on next Monday through an amendment to the RFP. Nothing else regarding the schedule for that RFP changes. Questions are still due on the 11th, and the offers are still due on the 16th. Nothing changes in that regard. Today we had our call with Greene County. With everything that's been going on, we kind of got off cycle for a couple weeks, but we're back on cycle to a regular every 2-week call. Those calls always run over because there's just so many things we have in common and can talk about. We may have to start scheduling more time for those calls. Tomorrow I have a MAP Executive Committee meeting, and I also have a Health Department Board of Health meeting. Friday we have staff reports. In the afternoon I have Broadband Initiative meeting. Just want to remind everybody of COVID testing, 9 to 11 on Mondays and Fridays at the Rec Center. And please remember your 3 W's: wash hands, wear a mask, and watch your distance. Thank you.
Thank you. It does give us, I think, all great pleasure to be able to do this for the employees, for the Health Department. People don't really realize, unless you're here, how hard the various employees of the county work for everybody in the county. Carrie's here today with this certification. Our elections were not even winked at or even cast any aspersion whatsoever, not just here, but in the state of West Virginia. So that's just well-deserved. I do want to thank everybody. I shall be leaving commission. It's not my final hurrah, but I do want to thank everybody that do work for the county. It's really important to me. When I came on board, I went to each department head, explained what I hope to do. I've explained to some people I feel like a starting pitcher that's been pulled in the fifth inning. When you're pulled in the fifth inning, you don't get the win, but that doesn't make any difference. This county will go on, I'm assured, and it will be always in good hands with the commission that will be seated. So I want everybody to be careful. Another holiday's coming up. We really don't need these spikes. We don't need to hear these type of reports that are coming forth. You may not think it's important, but it is important, particularly to those who are losing their loved ones and to those who are fighting in the hospital. So please do as Sean said. Please observe the distance. Please wash your hands. Please do what you're supposed to do and wear a mask. With that, I'll ask for adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. We are adjourned.